Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Thought Leaders. I'm your host Chris Shang, and today we have Danny, who is the founder of SpatialChat. Thank you so much for joining us today, Danny.
Thank you, Chris.
Of course, tell us a little bit about SpatialChat, what you're working on, what do you guys do, and who you guys work with.
Sure. So SpatialChat was born in 2020 during the COVID pandemic. It was, it was actually, this hackathon type of business that, we when we were stuck with the friends, we just thought, okay, let's just do something, let's do something fun. And we created over the weekend this prototype of SpatialChat. We thought people get bored with Zoom, and we tried to reimagine of how the user experience of video communication may look like. And we created like a new video conferencing tool. So as you can see from the name, it's called SpatialChat. So we quite different from Zoom in this aspect of that we try to play with the spatial audio effect. So in SpatialChat, you can think of SpatialChat as a child of Miro and Zoom. So you can actually, you have your avatar in a big canvas, and you can come to, so the closer you get to the person, the better you hear them. And so this experience can have, that's really expand all interactivity and immersiveness during online events and online education. So as I said, it was very, we didn't start, we actually did everything wrong in terms of, startup development. We didn't do customer development. We didn't do any market research, all this stuff. So we just decided it is a cool idea. Let's ship it. So we put it on Product Hunt, and we didn't have any expectation of what to do, but we became like something like a product, the third product of the day or something like that. I don't remember the exact page. And then the next day, all of our servers went down. So because there's so many people, we just didn't expect that high load. Yeah. And that was a clean sign. Okay, we probably created something interesting. So let's dive deeper in that. Previously, we didn't have none of the founders had any B2B experience. So and actually when we were designing SpatialChat, we didn't have any in mind, any ideal customer profile, persona, who's the buyers, and so on. So initially the tool was free, and then we decided to put the button contact sales. And just to see, okay, who's gonna reach us? And we noticed that I think out of 10 people, 8 of them were somehow related to online events, which was reasonable because it was COVID, it was pandemic, all event business was actually shut down, and everyone has to move to online spaces. They were looking for some cooler than Zoom mediums that can handle events perfectly. So there was a bunch of tools that emerged during this time, and SpatialChat was among them. And I think people were just exploring. But yeah, at the time we started actually learning how to do sales on our own. Yeah, and that was, I think, the first time we understand, okay, now we have to do real the B2B SaaS business. We have they have a persona who's online events. We have to understand what they want to. We have to understand how to close the accounts and so on. So that's the initial story. That's the season 1 of SpatialChat. So that was a tool for online events during the pandemic. And as you can imagine, if you do something, if you do online events during pandemic, the business can grow really well. So we didn't raise any money. We were absolutely bootstrapped, and we managed to hire exceptional individuals to work for us. We managed to have a really good financial discipline at the time. But when pandemic became I think when the world started moving from pandemic, we saw less demand for online events, which was kind of what we have expected, but we didn't have, the plan B. We said, okay, let's see when the things will go wrong, and then we'll decide what to do, because it's very hard to, at 2021, it was very hard to predict, okay, what should we do after the pandemic? And that's slightly how we're getting close to season 2 of SpatialChat. So when the pandemic was about to over, we we said, okay, we need to pivot something. We need to make the tool like if we're playing the SaaS game, we need actually to be more to find a more sticky scenario, to find people who gonna use spatial chat on a regular basis because everyone loves recurrent revenue and so on. And we have figured out that we took amplitude and to see how our sessions look like, and we clearly pattern. So first cluster, we're using spatial chat only on some, they were using it once or maybe 2 times a month for some event, and then that was their frequency. So 1-2 times a month. And then there was the guys who actually have I've never seen the session lengths of like that. They were using spatial chat for 8 hours a day. So I said, wow, what do they actually do? So it turned out, so people actually use spatial chat. They recreated the virtual office inside spatial chat. So why actually people decided to do that? So when we talked to this to our users, they told us that like when we turned to pandemic, we became really lonely, and we didn't have the serendipity of the office space, where you can just bump to a person and have this informal conversations where you can just go to your colleague without actually scheduling any Zoom call or slacking them and so on. So we really miss this, and they found spatial chat as a medium for doing that. So actually, in season 2 of spatial chat, we find ourselves in creating the category, which is something what I think many founders would love to do one day, but we found it ourselves in very interesting space. So that's even virtual office is something what our users starting naming spatial chat. So we starting finding the blogs on Medium where people say, oh, like what's the best virtual office platforms for remote team and so on. So that was kind of unintentional. And during the time, I think it was 2022, something like that. So that was a time where where Facebook has rebranded to Meta, and the metaverse was kind of strong, and there are a lot of startups at the stage, and everyone was talking about, okay, we need some more immersive stuff, and we actually landed on the hype train second time in our history. So the first was pandemics, and this was metaverse stuff, and we got some eyeballs with from users who were seeking for virtual office. And then actually it was quite an interesting venue, because so our hypothesis was, if virtual office is something that gonna really become a strong category, so that actually that's very good market for us, because it's have a recurrent usage, is a productivity tool. Like all productivity tools are doing great on in terms of fundraising, in terms of revenue. So we thought, okay, it's a good place to be, and it's actually outlines a very clear exit path for us as well. So then the hypothesis, but the main uncertainty was around the whole category. Like we didn't know whether it will stick or not, how big it would be. So, and I would say probably if we go to our time 2024. So I think that we actually followed I would say, low expectations scenario, because the whole category exists, but the whole market is not growing like 100%. So people still examining whether it's gonna stick, whether what place it is, why Slack is not a good option for that, why Discord is not a good option. So a few players in our category, like I know Gather Town or Ovice, and I think we on the same boat. There could be the main player in this category, but overall, like we kind of competing for the pie of maybe the time of, I don't know, 100 million USD, something like that, which is not that great from VC perspective. But back in 2022, I think it wasn't the case. So we still were like very positively thinking of this new pivot for us. Yeah. And then I think we go into the season 3. So that was around the 2023. So when we understand, okay, like we can't stick to the growth with, like, the virtual office category is something what is very interesting, but we can't really expect the 100% growth. We can expect that we're gonna have a lot of we have to promote both category and both a product, which is quite hard to do if you're like a bootstrap company. You operating on a tiny marketing budget. You really have to nail your ICP here, and I think that was the most probably difficult part of our journey. So we kind of like were understanding, okay, what we should do next, whether we need to just maintain the product, whether we need to just switch to something else, whether we need to build another tool. And I think the decisions that we came up that, okay, we probably need to step out of SpatialChat, what's a product, and currently rethinking and think about some other products in the niche that we in the niches that we get familiarized with. So maybe in online events or in productivity space. And I think that's the current sentiment that we're currently proceeding. So we haven't released yet, but we're working on some new SaaS products that's probably that have some that work in some adjacent space with SpatialChat, but they're gonna operate on different brand, and they probably gonna like even have a different ICP persona and so on. So, but it's I think the time where we understand that we from the product we becoming the company, and this this 2 seasons actually have uh, have become a good indicator of strength of the team, and that we can actually do something that we are ready to experiment with some other mediums. So yeah, that's the current story of the product, of the company.
Got it. And so I guess like where do you see where are you guys in terms of traction to date, and what are you anticipating as like the next major milestone to try to hit?
Well, we currently on less than 1 million RR. So just to it's I think it's 3 times smaller than we had it back into pandemic time. So lots of the customers coming from, we have a good split of online events, less online education, which is currently like more like one-time scenario, not really a SaaS scenario, not really recurrent revenue. And we have this virtual office, which is more innovative approach, but as I said, a bit tough category to, because we have to educate the customers both about the product and the category. So yeah, and as I said, our traction, I think we decided, okay, SpatialChat probably is something what we gonna maintain, but we want to look a bit on different categories for us for now, and to understand how we can utilize our knowledge and experience about running a SaaS company, and maybe we can create something interesting in the SaaS space, like more like in MarTech space or sales tech space. Yeah, so we quite open. We have been experimenting with a few ideas, so they still lying on our experimentation lab inside startup, but yeah, haven't released yet. So but keep let's keep in touch, and like we're probably gonna announce something interesting soon.
Got it. So tell us a little bit about how you got into starting SpatialChat in the first place. I know you have a pretty extensive background in engineering, founding a few other companies in the past, also on the product side. What was that initial interest? Why entrepreneurship? Why tech? Walk us through that personal discovery and journey.
Yeah, sure. I think I was I get intrigued with with startup with startup work. I think back in my first year of university. So I found actually in my first year of university, I found like a side business of mine. Um, it was a small, I would say even tiny clothing line. So I decided that it was, in States, people have this branded university swag, right? With Stanford, MIT, and so on, the sweaters. In my university, in my country, so it was just the trend has just emerged at the time, and I thought, oh, it's good to be. I wanted to buy some swag for myself, but I didn't really like the design, and I thought, okay, I can create my own and try to sell it to people. And that was the first business, and actually, I think I maintained it for 3 years, and we managed to. It was like a solo business, but I think at the end of 30 years, the GMV was about 30K per month, 30K USD. So that was quite nice for a side business. That's actually uh, just requires a couple hours a week from your end. And so that got me, as a first experience, it was kind of like entrepreneurship, but I also understand, okay, I understand the power of e-commerce, of digital world, because I didn't study computer science at the time. I was studying more fundamental physics, mechanics, so it was quite a just in space. But I didn't actually, when I was finishing the high school, I thought that would be like scientist or mechanical engineer, but I've never considered computer science as something as a path for me. But yeah, also after I sold this tiny clothing line, I thought, yeah, I need to get into the tech business. It's something what inspires me. And I joined like I had some internship in the tech companies. Then I decided to start my own startup. So that was the educational platform that helps the prospective students um, to find the best university and the best program in the university. And we also provide like one-on-one mentorship on that. Uh, and yeah, that was, I managed to raise a seed round, but that didn't go beyond that. So we have to shut down the platform. And after that, I reflected a bit like what I want to do in my life. And I thought, and it was, I think, 2017, 2018, I get like uh, my girlfriend at the time and my current wife, she was studying Chinese, and she went for, she found it, yeah, I think she enrolled in master's program in China. Yeah. And I thought, wow, it's something interesting. I need actually to come to China and to see what people like. The China was booming at the time. And I thought it's very interesting to see what people are doing there. Why is this part of the world is different from all other. And I came to China, and not sorry, not to China. I went to study to Hong Kong, but I was very much observing what's happening in Chinese tech to learn something from Chinese entrepreneurs. Um, Eventually, I end up working in a startup in Hong Kong, uh, which is like a wealth tech solutions. Uh, yeah, so it was a good experience of like, understanding just another culture, another how people build products inside very different part of the world, very different background. I think I was all my team members, they were I think there was a mix of Chinese and Cantonese inside our team, but that's actually I didn't speak any of these languages. So it was a bit I think it was the first time I get, okay, I need actually to get the context very fast. And I think that's very important for any entrepreneurs, just because whenever you start something, you're gonna handle a lot the high level of uncertainty. And this time when I was just working with people which sometimes I didn't understand what they're talking about, I have actually to create my own mental models of understanding how I can communicate with them and so on. Later, I again maintain after working with in a startup, I had I decided to stay in Asia because I thought, yeah, it's an interesting market. It's very I mean, China is something what's very difficult to do being a foreigner, and yeah, it's a whole different world. But it's very interesting to see how people think there, to learn from them, but really not to do something there as entrepreneur. And I was looking for some other regions in Asia, and very accidentally I ended up in Japan. I worked in SoftBank Group. Again, I worked as an engineer, as a data scientist, so it's like a big company. We were actually working on several, we were quite on interesting products. We were working on landing the first super app in Japan. Um, like it's called PayPay. I was partially part of the team who was developing that in the global SoftBank group. Yeah, so I spent like about 2 years in Japan. I thought, wow, it's a great place to be. It's a great market. I mean, it's very hard to get into. And then we finally goes to SpatialChat. So as I said, it was a hackathon project. So I team up with my university friends. Uh, so we published that on Product Hunt, and we thought, okay, like we have very low expectations. Uh, and the next day, like the week after, my friend messaged me, "Hey Danny, I don't know why, but 60% of our users are coming from Japan. Like you probably the only folk in our team who can speak Japanese, who can understand what they. I mean, we have lots of media coverage in Japanese. I don't know exactly if why we became popular. So actually, that was the time where when I understood, okay, I can actually utilize somehow my Japanese experience to maintain SpatialChat, and it was something very. It was very. I think back to the questions that we need to grab the context very fast. Yeah, and the next week I have already a conversation with one Japanese conglomerate who wanted to buy the license, and I just people even go to MBA to study how to how to um, how to work with Japanese business. I mean, I was very new to that. I mean, I only work with Japanese colleagues, but I've never sell or may establish any partners there. So then we have a conversation with this Japanese conglomerate, and that was very. I just read some stuff in some advices in some business books and land up in a call, and we actually make this deal. So that was very it taught me a lot about how to deal with a different culture, how to deal with another uh, business rules. Some funny story here, how we actually managed to get this deal. It was the first time when we have this, we have a demo, it went well, then the Japanese client sent us, this security list of questions that we need to ask, like it was, I think, 70 questions or something like that about that every vendor has to fill. I don't know, we spent a couple of days just filling this data. It was very weird because, we just a startup, like we didn't have any security and so on. And then we replied, and like probably the next day, our customers told us, "Hey guys, sorry, you didn't pass the security. We can't make a deal with you." And I pick up my Japanese colleague, my Japanese friend. So I said, "Hey, can you just, I don't know, can you be our Japanese country manager consultant for a while?" And I replied to this Japanese conglomerate. He replied from our side, so he said, "Hey, I'm like the country manager of SpatialChat. I don't know, I have just joined. Maybe can you elaborate what kind of technical requirements we're not fitting?" And the message was very funny. They said, "Oh, I didn't know you have a country manager in Japan. I mean, I thought you're just a startup, but you seems guy very solid. So actually, the problem is not that bad. So I think we can make this deal." So that was it was the first. It was among the first deals that we managed to close, and I said, "Wow, I really tend to like this B2B." So yeah, asking if I would shortly answer your question. So I think what's intrigued me is that this level of uncertainty that's always that is coming by default to any entrepreneur activity you have. So I really maybe it's a part of curiosity of mine. So really like to examine different cultures, different businesses, and trying to build a better understanding of the world. And I think running a business is the best way to build this understanding.
Absolutely. Um, and just the last question here, like what are you either personally or professionally really excited for in the next 6 months or a year? Could be related back to your business, directly with Spatial Chat or just kind of with, potentially launching a new product. What's kind of keeping you up and getting you excited?
Mm, good question. Mm. I think in terms of from professional side, um, I think I'm currently exploring the field um, of better data management for B2B companies. So that's one of the problems that we have examined in SpatialChat, that uh, it's where the tools that the data tools that exist in the market, they build presumably for consumer business, B2C or D2C businesses, and they're not handle well the B2B scenarios. So for example, like in B2B, you require deeper integration between sales and product teams. You require better awareness of in CRM about what's happening in your product. And I think all like product analytics tools, like Google Analytics, for example, too, they were not designed in this purpose. So that's part of the things that we currently exploring as probably as a new venture. So how we can B2B SaaS companies to build a better analytics from day zero. And for now, I've been consulting a few companies on this matter. So just to build a better understanding of the set of problems. And I think this space really intrigues me, really because it's not something where we're dealing with large amount of data. It's not really the big data that some Amazon or Google is handling, but it's more about how to utilize this data, how to activate it, how to get from this huge data lakes the important signals that can flourish your business. So yeah, that's this kind of professional stuff that really intrigues me now.
Got it. Fair enough. On that note, I want to say thank you so much for taking the time. A lot of great information here, a lot of great nuggets that you shared. Thanks so much for joining us and giving us insight into your experience.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you for inviting. Really enjoyed that.
Awesome.